It's race day here in Barcelona with 16-year-old sensation Fermin Aldeguer looking to steal yet more headlines in the Moto2 European Championship. He's gunning for a fantastic 4 straight wins to start 2021 and start from a debut pole position. 17 laps ahead for the Moto2 guys around the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya. Hello and welcome to beautiful Barcelona, around half an hour outside of the gorgeous capital of Catalonia. And we're at the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalonia, just 1 week on from the Catalan Grand Prix here. And what a start to the day we've had in Moto3. If you've not seen that race, then make sure you catch up throughout MotoGP.com and the FIMSEV Repsol YouTube channel. Later on today, our attention now though switches to the first of 2 European Moto2 Championship races, where just like in Moto3, it's been domination so far from one man. 16 years of age, Fermin Aldeguer has proven himself to be a star of the future, Jack.
Yeah, he certainly has, but this was last time out in Valencia. Then Aldeguer, you're seeing there in the middle of the front row, starting second, just behind his teammate, and he would eventually eclipse his teammate Alonso Lopez, moving up into the lead. And once he had done that, well, that was really all she wrote. Aldeguer, he's had sensational pace all season long. Further down, there was the likes of Tiger Harder and Kubow battling away. Unfortunately, Tiger Harder had some bike problems, and he won't be here this weekend after a high side at turn 3, so we send our best wishes to him. But Aldeguer, he cruised away to the victory in the end. Sensational stuff from just the young 16-year-old, no less. And he's turning into somewhat of a sensation with these guys. So the win went the way of Aldeguer last time out in Valencia. And, well, you wouldn't put it past him to do the same again here.
No, you wouldn't. I don't want to sort of downsell this race, but Aldeguer has been in sensational form all weekend throughout free practice and then in qualifying as well. He's been 3/4 of a second quicker than anybody else. Absolutely brilliant form from the 16-year-old Spaniard. Back in Grand Prix action, let's not forget, next weekend at the Sachsenring, where he will be looking to build on an unbelievable debut performance, picking up points in his first ever race at Mugello. The reason we're harping on about him and being so full of praise about him, because this kid really is as good as we're saying. He is going to be on the Moto2 World Championship grid next year. There is no doubt about that. And in years to come, he will be winning Moto2 World Championship races.
Yeah, he certainly will be. And yesterday it really was, well, it was the Aldeguer show. He picked up his first pole position of the season, but I think it was 0.737 of a second. This is how he did it.
With this first pole position, for tomorrow, my goals is win the 2 race. My plan is push in the start of the race for open a little bit of space with my rivals, and in the end stay a little bit more relaxed, because this race was very hard. Nothing. Thank you to the team, because they work too much.
So there is Aldeguer, understandably delighted with a first ever pole position. Of course, he has been on the front row on 2 separate occasions so far this year. Second in Estoril, second in Valencia, but he's finally got that 1 lap pace dialed in, and he's now on pole, gunning for a 4th and then probably a 5th straight victory. But stranger things have happened, Jack, and there's certainly a whole host of talented riders further down the grid that are looking to try and topple the 16-year-olds. And there's no better man, or no man more determined than his teammate, former Grand Prix star Alonso Lopez. Of course, losing his Moto3 World Championship ride at the start of the year. He has 51 Moto3 Grand Prix to name, plus a podium finish as well. This kid is talented, but so far he's been outshone by Fermin Aldeguer, and he'll be wanting to put a stop to that as soon as possible.
Yeah, he certainly will be. I mean, it's been close between these two all year, but it just seems that Aldeguer has that slight edge, and that's certainly no through any fault of Lopez's own. I mean, he's hopped on a Moto2 bike for the first time in his career, and these are the old 600cc machines, no less, which are notoriously a little bit of a tricky thing to master with very, very low torque and all very peaky power. So certainly the pair of them doing very well. It just seems that Fermin Aldeguer has got that, well, he's got that final 5%, shall we say, that Alonso Lopez doesn't quite have at the moment.
And as a result of what you were saying there, Jack, the fact that these guys are still running the Honda 600 engines rather than the Triumph 765 engines, it's totally pointless comparing the lap time that Aldeguer did compared to what the Moto2 guys did last week, because they're on completely different machinery. Having said that, though, that makes Aldeguer's performance in Mugello, where he picked up a 12th place finish, even more impressive, jumping on a completely different bike for the first time and beating a whole host of riders that have been in that Grand Prix paddock a very long time. Another man with Grand Prix experience is on the outside of the front row of the grid. A third straight front roof start for the German. Lukas Tulovic has experience from last weekend, battling it out in the all-electric Moto E class. Be hoping to transfer that form into the Moto2 Championship. Here's Alex Toledo, best ever qualifying for him. And yes, Alex, it's pretty warm out there.
Yeah, it certainly is quite warm. I can tell you, when I was just down in the pit lane there for the interview at the end of the Moto3 race, it was quite sweltery, I've got to say. Toledo, actually, interesting point. He actually beat Fermin Aldeguer to the Stock 600 title last year. So certainly no slouch in himself. And you see there on his progression throughout the year, he's been getting better and better. And once again, this year, best qualifying so far for this round. And I mean, well, he's certainly going to be one to watch in the race, as it seems as though in warm-up this morning, he had a tricky warm-up because I think there was a possibility there was a problem with his transponder, but throughout free practice he showed good, very good pace.
You say Alex Toledo beat him to the Stock 600 title. He nearly did.
I do apologise.
He finished second, but it was a close run thing in the end. So Toledo is no mug out there, proven by the fact that he's qualified fourth. Adam Noradine will start from fifth. The Malaysian, I'm sure, will have had a little bit of a kick up the backside and a little bit of a confidence boost, having seen his compatriot, well, we won't give away the result, but do quite well about half an hour ago. He'll be hoping to replicate that same sort of form, and starting from the outside of the second row of the grid is the Andorran Xabi Zurutuza, another man that had experience here in the Moto E class last week, but it's a race that I'm sure he'll be wanting to forget, taken out on the very first lap.
Yeah, certainly. Didn't really work out for him last week, but let's hope it's better this week. And this is his best qualifying of the year so far. And Cardoso has been one of these riders where the last kind of few races, and also the last few races of last year, we saw him kind of drop off from the form that we know he has, and certainly sixth place on the grid, this is much more like it. So watch out for Xavi in this one. It seems as though he's kind of got a little bit of his mojo back and will be coming through the pack. Here's a face familiar to you if you watch the World Championship stuff, Piotr Bishikirski. He has some experience in Moto2 not only this year but also last, and has been going quite well so far in this season.
Yeah, a wildcard performance last week in the Moto2 World Championship, did the pole as part of the Pertamina Mandalika SAG squad. It's been an up and down start so far for Bishikirski, as you can see there. Only 11 points so far. That's not what he would have hoped. He's was super consistent in 2020, but despite that top 5 finish at the opening round of the year, after that he had a disappointing second race in Estoril and then a weekend to forget in Valencia as well. Lining up alongside the pole is another man that was here, actually making his Grand Prix debut last week here at the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya. The enigmatic Thai rider Kemin Kubow. If you like to see your riders as sideways as possible at all available opportunities, then this man is the man for you.
Yeah, he certainly is. He kind of reminds me of Sam Lowe's a good 4 or 5 years ago when Sam was racing in Moto2 back when it was on these Honda machines. He used to just bang it down the gearbox, let the clutch out, and it was all kinds of sideways, and that's exactly what this man does. Certainly very, very good entertainment entertainment to watch and also very fast.
He's certainly a spectacle, is Kevin for Kubow, so keep your eye on him charging through from row 3 of the grid, as you should for Sam Wilford as well. A best ever Moto2 qualifying for Sam Wilford onto the 3rd row of the grid for the very first time, the number 35. A great performance from him, but all eyes are understandably on that front row. Fermin Aldeguer looking for 4 straight wins to start 2021. Is he going to have company from teammate Alonso Lopez and German Lukas Tulovic? We're about to find out. 17 laps ahead of the European Moto2 Championship coming up.
So Moto2 engines on and they're clearing the grid, and we are about to see that grid very, very shortly indeed. Here it is then. Fermin Aldeguer, first pole position of the year, ahead of his teammate Alonso Lopez and Lukas Tulovic. Watch out for him. He's fast, just needs to put it together in the race. Toledo lines up 4th from Noradine and Cardelus. Boscoscuro, Kubow, and a best ever qualifying for Wilford in 9th. Watch out for him as he's always knocking around that top 10. Dimaseki Pitama in 10th on the grid from Gutierrez on the Bultaco, going very well this weekend actually, particularly in hot conditions. From Elage Few, Matteo Rato, Escrig on the top stock 600 runner, and Zetti from Vostatec also, and then Daijiro Sacco, who's making his debut year in the stock 600, and Kyle Paz. Leon Orgis, Jared Schultz, Guillermo Moreno, and then Alex Perez. Joro Boroboom, who's had some experience in the British paddock, that may be a name you're familiar with, and then Gian Mertens, Kevin Orgis, and Federico Minozzi rounding them out.
Aldeguer starts from pole then, the number 54. I know we've said it a couple of times, but just 16 years of age. The last time he was here at the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya in FIMSEV Repsol action, he went toe-to-toe with Ethan Guevara in the European Talent Cup race. The pair of them absolutely bolted and were 10 seconds up the road before then throwing everything they had at each other. And look how those two, the pair of their careers have progressed since then. Ethan Guevara, now of course a junior world champion and battling it out in the fully fledged World Championship paddock, and Fermin Aldeguer looks to be following suit in 2022 if he can continue to carry on how he started in 2021.
Yeah, of course, Guevara crashed out on the final lap of the Moto3 race just a week ago. At turn 10, 3 corners to go, he was in 2nd place and just took the front trying to get up the inside. I think it was his teammate, actually. Oh, look at that. 32 degrees. It's absolutely scorching outside. They're certainly going to be squirming around on these rear tyres later in the race, so watch out for them trying to manage that one, particularly around this corner here, and then also coming around the final few rights.
Yeah, speaking with Lukas Tulovic earlier, just grabbing a coffee at breakfast, and he said that actually, although you might imagine with the Circuit de Barcelona is renowned for being really, really tough on the tyres, but he feels that in this Moto2 race, that although yes, you can feel a noticeable drop off from laps 3, 4 to 5, once then there's no real brick wall that they hit. It's a gradual progression. He feels like it is definitely manageable, even despite the really, really warm temperatures out there. That's how the championship looks then. It's been fairly easy to keep track of so far. 3 wins out of 3 for Fermin Aldeguer and 3 second place finishes for Alonso Lopez. The number 21 is by now sick and tired of staring at the rear of the number 54. Is today the day that he's able to get the better of him? We're about to find out. As you mentioned, as you went through the grid there, you might be able to just see him in the back of your picture there, the number 99 of Oscar Gutierrez on the Bultaco of all things. Great to see a Bultaco out there racing, a rather famous brand from years gone by. You can see him there. The bike looks absolutely stunning. And he's doing a pretty good job on it as well. It's obviously not the machine to be on as they continue their development cycle, but he's doing a good job. That man, of course, having won a number of Spanish Supersport titles over recent years, making a bit of a wild card appearance here and doing a good job of it. We don't expect him to feature in the fight for victory, though. The names we're expecting are Aldeguer, Lopez and Tulovic on that front row of the grid. The teenager has been making the rest of the field look a little bit silly so far this year, as we have, what's going on here? A bit of moving and shaking, people not knowing where they're supposed to line up. Yeah. Just pick a grid slot and go, guys. There we go, we've got it sorted. Bit of a delay, but finally, I think the green flag will eventually wave at the back of the grid as it does. Here we go then. 2 races coming up today from the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya. A first ever start from pole position from Aldeguer, and it fires away brilliantly from top spot. Tulovic gets a good run as well, as does Toledo from the second row of the grid. The number 55 on the outside here. Look out for him. It's 4-5 abreast into the opening corner. Who's bravest enough on the brakes? It's Tulovic, as Alonso Lopez slams the door shut on teammate Aldeguer as well. That's not how we expected things to go. He's been bullied through the opening corner there as Aldeguer, and as a result, it's Tulovic that leads the way.
Well, that is exactly what Tulovic and Lopez needed. They needed to get in front of Aldeguer at the start because he's got the pace to run away from these boys. So now that they're at the start, they're just going to try and bottle him up, keep him behind, and see if they can hold on to him when he eventually does go and try make a move. Great start from Toledo, coming all the way up. Well, he was in 4th on the grid, but it looked like he was going to take the lead for just a moment, but got squeezed out in the end. Anyway, so Tulovic leads as we come down now into start the second half of the first lap.
And here comes Aldeguer already looking for a move up the inside, but no way through there. So Alonso Lopez holds on to second for the moment as we flick left and then right through turns 7 and 8 for the very first time. Now into turn 9 with Tulovic still leading the way, and already these leading trio who've had the pace all weekend are just looking to break clear of the number 55 of Alex Toledo behind, and Noradine can see that, and he's looking to make his way through on the 55 ahead of him, but no way through on the Easy Race machine.
Yeah, certainly had a little bit of a look and a bit of a sniff down the inside, but no, not this time round. We'll look for it again very, very soon, I am sure. So we come down now into the final 2 right-handers, and it's going to be Tulovic who should lead across the line for lap 1, but we'll see if he can hold on to it by the time they get down to turn 1. So Tulovic first, Lopez second, and your championship leader Aldeguer in third with a little bit of work to do.
Yeah, let's see how Tulovic holds on here. The 2 Boscoscuro machines, formerly known as the speed-ups, tuck in behind. They both go left. We're now 3 abreast on the run down to the opening corner. Once again, it's a battle of who's bravest. Aldeguer's on the outside here. Tulovic has the inside line and is able to hold on. Aldeguer looking to get his own back from 1 lap before, but once again, no way through. And it's as we were as we start lap 2.
Seriously brave and skill from there from Aldeguer, breaking on the curb. That really is not the ideal thing you want to be doing, but he's still got it stopped, and even had a look up the inside of his teammate at turn 2, and he's going to have a look again at turn 4, points it to the apex, gets it done. Aldeguer up into second, but Lopez, he's not having that. Experienced man, he's going to try and hang it on the inside, push him wide. Whoa. Yes, he does. Look at these two going hammer and tong.
These are teammates. You might not be able to tell. They're definitely racing out there. No team orders whatsoever. And Lopez, wow. I tell you what, that was a bit naughty there. He swung across the front wheel of Aldeguer. He's aggressive. He's Lopez, and he goes wide as a result. He goes wide through turn number 7, and that's allowed Aldeguer through. And to be honest, it looks as though Lopez was a little bit rattled there. The way that he came out of turn 5 and swooped across the front wheel of Aldeguer as he flicked left through turn 6. It was a little bit naughty, and then as a result, he missed his braking marker into turn 7, and he forced himself wide, and Aldeguer's now into second.
I think really that was Lopez just understanding the situation. Oh, who's gone down? That's number 14. That is one of the stock 600 riders. That's a shame for JWCh. First season on the stock 600. Hopefully he's okay. We haven't seen a shot of him, but that's his bike under the air fence there. Anyway, back to the front. And yeah, as we were saying, I think that was a Lopez just understanding that he needed to keep Aldeguer behind him because Aldeguer has the superior pace, and already Aldeguer has pulled in that advantage of Tulovic by a few tenths on the second half of this lap.
It has. That mistake from Lopez has forced him to lose touch with our leading duo almost instantly as they came across the line. 3/4 of a second the difference as Aldeguer goes around the outside of Tulovic into turn 1. What a move from the 16-year-old. We told you he was talented, and there's no better proof of that than that move right there. Incredible from the 54.
Yeah, certainly very, very good. Fastest lap of the race, 46 flat. That's a little bit... Oh, look at him sliding the rear end. Certainly. So he's putting the burners on. He's going to try and break Tulovic. What Tulovic needs to do now, he needs to dig in. He has to hang with him. He hasn't quite had the pace.
Oh, he's
wow.
He's wide.
Oh, maybe we'll just be cutting it back for a late apex. But, yeah, certainly Aldeguer going for it and trying to break them.
He certainly is, as you say. If Tulovic can stick with Aldeguer here, we fully expect that Aldeguer has got the pace from what we've seen in free practice and qualifying to pull clear here. He's been a league above all weekend, so if Tulovic can go with him for 2, 3, 4 laps, you never know. He might be able to just stick with him, and when the tyres start to drop, he might just have a little bit as we come into the closing stages. If not, at least he'll be able to drag himself clear from the fight behind involving the likes of Lopez, Noradine and Cardelus as well, who has made a good start and is through up into the top 5.
Yeah, Cardelus, good start, then up into 5th. That's great stuff from him. Confidence inspiring for him, as he needs to have a good result to get back onto the pace that we do know he has. I think he's right just behind Adam Noradine. Yes, he is. So anyway, coming down to complete the 4th lap, and it does seem that Aldeguer, well, you saw him have a look over his shoulder coming out of turn 9, and it looks as though he's broken them already. The last couple of sectors, he's pulled out 2 or 3 tenths in each one. We'll see what this lap time's going to be coming round as they complete this lap. He's on PB sectors in every single one, fastest sector. And is it the fastest lap time? Yes, it is. And 8 tenths quicker than Tulovic and half a second quicker than Lopez in 3rd. So Aldeguer, well, he's running away with it already.
Incredible, incredible from Aldeguer. Hits the front, moves clear, and there's confirmation. Fastest lap of the race, a 1:45.2. We don't have any lap records here to compare it with because, of course, this the first time that FIM-CV Repsol has come back to the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya, since they revamped and redesigned turn 10. So there's nothing really to compare with. But I think you can be guaranteed that, well, actually, I was going to say that lap record is going to last for a long time, but it's going to last for exactly 1 year because, of course, the Moto2 Championship next year are finally going to make the move across to the Triumph engines.
Well, or Jack, it's either going to last for about another minute unless Aldeguer goes and breaks it again. So anyway, we'll see. He's not going quite as fast as what he was on this lap as what it was the last lap. And certainly the 2 men behind him seem to be extremely level pegged in terms of pace. So these two, it's going to be a close fight for second, I am sure, as we come down into the final laps of this race. Yeah,
Lopez looks to have just regathered his thoughts there. As we said, maybe just a little bit rattled as Aldeguer came past him, made the mistake and lost touch with both Tulovic and Aldeguer, but he has just settled back into a rhythm here and he's closing back in onto the rear wheel of Lucas Tulovic. Good battle going on behind though for 4th place, involving Marcel Schrotter and Jack Miller in the house. Good to have you with us, gents. Of course, in the Intact GP box, the home of Marcel Schrotter, a little bit away from Jack Miller, a place that he's quite favourable with. He had a good run here in Catalunya.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, Jack went quite well here. Obviously, the Ducatis, they maybe didn't do quite as well as we thought they might have done, but certainly Jack this year, I mean, he's a man that's taken a massive step in terms of just consistency in performing. So, yeah, good to see Miller and Schrotter here supporting their team, well, Schrotter's teammates anyway.
Here we go then into turn 1, and Lopez, yep, he's with Tulovic now, so we've got a battle for the final podium places on our hands. Don't count out that these two may be able to close in on Aldeguer. As Jack said, Aldeguer is pushing on here. He's absolutely straight at it, trying to pull out a gap. As you can see, another fastest lap, so Old Gosto to the right of me was right. That lap record lasting for exactly 1 minute and 45 seconds before he was able to set a new one. But we've still 13 laps to go with it 32 degrees out there, track temperature well above 50 degrees. Although Tulovic says he doesn't think it could happen, of course he's riding the Kalex chassis, and the Boscoscuro machine may well deal with their tyres slightly differently, and we could see a drop-off from both Aldeguer and Lopez. So don't count Tulovic out of it at this point. The gap 1.3 seconds, but we've seen stranger things happen in motorcycle racing before.
Yeah, we certainly have, and as Jack's rightly pointed out, obviously different chassis, they work differently, they kind of use their tyres and the grip in very different ways. And obviously with these bikes being slightly older now, 2 or 3 years old as they are, these old 600cc machines, we do know that generally the chassis of choice was the Kalex. So for the 2 Boscoscuros to be doing this, obviously these 2 boys are, well, they're riding very well indeed, but well, I mean, you can see them now. Lopez is all over the back of Tulovic now. He's picked up that pace a little bit. He was quicker than him last time round by just under a quarter of a second. Ooh. So certainly Tulovic under a little bit of pressure for that second place. And he'll want to hang on to it because it will be his best performance of the season so far if he can hang on to second.
Alonso Lopez behind. Just has to be careful though. Just went on to track limits before he flicked it right into the final corner of turn 14. Another fastest lap of the race for Fermin Aldeguer. A 1:44.980. That is only half a second away from what he did in qualifying yesterday. So that is how hard he's pushing on.
Yeah, I mean, that's an incredible lap time. To put that into some perspective, he was 9 tenths quicker than the 2 guys behind him on that lap. I mean, that is just a different league. This man is, well, he's firing on all cylinders and just making everyone else look like they're struggling to keep up, which is exactly what they are.
Yeah, they'll be scratching their heads thinking, what on earth do I have to do to stick with Aldeguer? Certainly Tulovic and teammate Alonso Lopez will be doing. Lopez, of course, taking the step down from the Moto3 World Championship. Well, it wasn't his decision. He was turfed out of the Husqvarna squad at the start of the year and found a seat here in the Moto2 European Championship, hoping that this would be the springboard for him to get back into the World Championship paddock. But at the moment, if there is an available Boscoscuro seat going, then I think it will be going the way of Fermin Aldeguer, although don't be surprised if he's not on a Boscoscuro next year, because there is no doubt there is going to be a whole host of Moto2 teams trying to get the signature of Fermin Aldeguer.
Yeah, we know how much that the Moto2 World Championship teams look at this paddock as a way of choosing their next young rider, their next young talent to take victories, podiums, and even a championship, and then eventually move on to MotoGP. So yeah, no doubt, as Jack says, there will be a lot of teams looking to get this man's signature for 2022. And I mean, whoever does it, their pockets are going to have to be deep, I do feel.
Yeah, he's certainly a man in demand at the moment, but he's probably worth the paycheck from what we're seeing here. There's no doubt at just 16, if he moves into the World Championship next year and he continues to develop, then the sky is the limit.
Yeah, it really is. And 16, by the time he goes to the World Championship, he will be 17. And I think, well, that would be one of the youngest runners in that championship as well. And already, if he's finishing 12th in his debut this year, next year, what's he going to do? Is he going to be top 5 podiums, maybe even go for race wins like we've seen Ralph Fernandez do this year in his debut season? I mean, 17 in the World Championship, I think there's only a handful at the moment in there now. I think Barry Baltus is one who's slowly improving his form. So, I mean, yeah, the sky is the limit for this young man, this young 16-year-old Fermin Aldeguer.
I mean, you look at Pedro Acosta, for example. He's 16 years of age, and it's looking extremely likely, if he continues to do what he's doing, that he'll be in Moto2 next year at 17. And the talk surrounding him, well, obviously he's not doing it in the Grand Prix arena, so it's understandable that it's not creating the same amount of noise. But what Fermin Aldeguer is doing is equally as impressive already on a Moto2 machine. You mentioned Ralph Fernandez, who looks MotoGP bound as well. He's 20. Aldeguer's got 4 years to get to that level. And it looks as though if he continues his development curve, he'll be there in a couple of years, no doubt. So, yeah, Aldeguer, super rider. But let's not get carried away. 11 laps to go. You need to see the checkered flag here, but it's all going swimmingly so far for the number 54. Currently 3.5 seconds clear of this battle for second place, involving Tulovic and Alonso Lopez. Lopez not finished outside of P2 all year long so far. 3 straight second place finishes, so he'll be desperately hoping to continue that streak, with Tulovic ahead of him, hoping to jump up to second, a best ever finish for him.
Oh, here we go. Alonso Lopez looks like he's going to make the move into second. Can he get it stopped on the brakes? It seems as though he can. So Lopez, he's sick of looking up the rear exhaust pipes on that Calyx in front of him, and he slides past Tulovic up into P2. Now, we'll see if he can pick up his pace. He's off the pace of what Aldeguer is doing, but we'll see if he can pick up his pace and pull away from Tulovic and cement that second place.
Yeah, Tulovic is going to have to respond here. Looking at qualifying from yesterday, there was only 10 separating them, but Tulovic, from speaking to him earlier, was a little bit worried about the pace of certainly Aldeguer, but Lopez as well. He mentioned both the Boscoscuro machine, so let's see what he's able to do here. Can he stick with Alonso Lopez with 10 laps remaining now and hopefully get in the way? Here's a look at the Stock 600 runners. And this is what happened further down the field. Oh, just gets it sideways. That's Alex Escrid, the Valencian, on the foul 55 machine, getting it wrong, and in the end going through the long lap penalty loop as a result. Of course, foul 55 might be a familiar name for some of you. Well, of course, that is the team that's run by none other than Hector Faubel, a 8-time 125 Grand Prix race winner, and he's got fingers in quite a few pies. He's got riders running in the European Talent Cup, which is coming up later, and of course the Stock 600 guys as well. Yeah,
and the man that we just saw on screen, Alex Escrig, he's having a pretty good run on that Stock 600. He's the top of the Stock 600 runners at the moment, and well, if that sounds familiar, that's exactly what this man, Fermin Aldeguer, was last year. He was obviously on the Stock 600 and did win the championship in the end, as I wrongly said earlier. He finished second, so I do apologise. But yes, Alex Escrig certainly doing well there or thereabouts in the kind of top 10. He's had 13th, a 10th and a 12th this season. So going well for the Stock 600, which usually is a significant amount slower than the Moto2 machine.
Yeah, doing a good job so far is Alex Escrig. He'll keep chipping away. Incidentally, the Stock 600 Championship fight, as you rightly say, it's Escrig that leads the way from the Dutchman Sander Kreutzer. Kreutzer at the moment is quite a long way down, isn't he? He's in this race struggling to keep pace. We've got a tumbling down the field. Oh, it looks as though we've had a coming together further down the field. Kevin Kubow and Alex Toledo are both out of action. They were fighting it out for a top 5 place, but the Thai rider and the Spaniard are now tumbling down the order. Hopefully we'll see what's happening, but on our timing screens, both Kubow and Toledo are unfortunately out of this one.
Yeah, that's a huge shame for Kubow and Toledo, both having some of their best rides of the season. Good to see that Toledo's okay. Hopefully we'll get a shot of Kubow as well. I think, is that just him on the left there? It might well be. Yeah, so both of them are okay, which is fantastic to see. And this, I'm sure there will be a replay of it. Yes, it will.
Here it is, Toledo on the inside.
Oh, that's a huge shame. Unfortunate for Kubow there, just being taken out by Toledo. Obviously, just a small mistake, no malicious intent in it. So unfortunate for those two, but that is their race over.
Yeah, racing incident, that one. And as we did see on our pictures there, Toledo walking across and holding his hands up, apologising to Kubow for that one. But those things can happen. Great shame for Kubow, though, where, if I remember rightly, crashed out of his Grand Prix debut last week as well. So he's not had the best of fortunes here in Barcelona, that's Kubow. But the good news is, hopefully it'll be third time lucky for the Thai rider. These guys get underway later on, 3 o'clock local time. I've heard there's a football match on at that time. But,
yeah, be careful. We know you like the football, Jack.
No, don't.
Some serious racing going on here. But anyway, I don't know if anyone saw the pit board there for Alonso Lopez. But anyway, it had Lopez shark attack underneath it. I quite like that. Obviously, there's another man in the Moto2 World Championship, Tony Arbolino, who has a few little shark references on his number and nickname. So yeah, always good to see a little shark attack popping up here and there for the nicknames.
Aldeguer coming up to the first back markers on the Stock 600 machine. Blue flags waving for the number 40, Federico Menezzi, the Italian. I'm sure he will move out of the way and allow the 54 to come through. 8 laps to go here, and it has been an incredible performance so far from this man, Aldeguer. He hit the front.
Well, and he hasn't got back.
Yeah, he's had to do it the hard way, of course, starting from pole position for the very first time. Tulovic and Alonso Lopez bullied him into the opening corner, pushing him back to 3rd place, but he then picked off Alonso Lopez, who tried his very best to keep his teammate behind him, and then with ease managed to make his way through on Aldeguer as well. This is the move that saw Lopez move through to 2nd place, a typical Circuit de Barcelona Catalunya move into turn 1. Lopez getting it sideways, but getting it parked at the apex and getting the job done.
Yeah, beautiful move. Kept the rear wheel under control, making sure it wasn't stepping out too far. You see him spread the downshifts out quite nicely so it doesn't then get a load of engine brake and just swing sideways uncontrollably. So certainly Lopez masterfully done and up into 2nd. And in terms of that battle, it's actually Tulovic has come back to him on this lap. He's picked up 2/10 on that lap, so watch out. There may well be a late charge from Tulovic as we come down into the final 7 laps.
Yeah, the gap half a second between them now. So Tulovic has not thrown in the towel by any stretch of the imagination. He's got plenty of time as well. Still 6.5 laps remaining here. So if he can get back onto the rear of Alonso Lopez, then we may well have ourselves a bit of a ding-dong for the final podium places. The speed-up squad, or the Boscoscuro squads, we saw the pictures of there, will be hoping that they can make it 4 straight 1-2 finishes, but Tulovic may well have another idea. And just to add a little bit of drama into the mix, a track limits warning has flashed up on our timing screens for the number 21 of Alonso Lopez. So the Spaniard is going to have to be careful here. Under pressure from the number 3 of Tulovic, he can't be making any more mistakes and hitting the green stuff, otherwise a long lap penalty will be coming his way.
Yeah, it certainly will be. And just looking down the timing screens, a quick shout out to the Bultaco rider, Oscar Gutierrez, doing a fine ride indeed in 8th place on that Bultaco. The only Bultaco in the field, so obviously gathering data and all sorts of stuff with that bike, as it is very different to everything else. Well, not very different, but it is different to everything else out there. Certainly a little bit of a challenge when you're the only one out there. So doing a fantastic job indeed, just ahead of Matteo Ratto on the Promo Racing Calex. So great stuff from the Bultaco man.
There you see confirmation track limits warning for the 21 of Alonso Lopez. Another infraction, another trip onto the AstroTurf, and there will be a long lap penalty coming his way, which, by the way, is located right here at turns 1 and 2. The gap has remained constant, half a second. The pair were equal in their lap times last time around at 46.3. You can see there, confirmation of that. Tulovic ever so slightly faster, about half a tenth quicker than the Spaniard in front of him. But with 6 laps to go, Tulovic is right in the mix here, and he looks to have just closed in a little bit more as well. There's only 2, 3, maybe even 4 bike lengths separating these two here. This fight for the final podium places is going to go down to the wire, Jack.
Yeah, it certainly is. We know that Tulovic isn't shy of a move, so if he gets any sort of chance, he will be diving up the inside of Alonso Lopez to try and take that second. He's got a fantastic all-action riding style of Tulovic, particularly when he's in this mood, when he's got the person right there in front of him to use as a marker and chase down. But it does seem again that this lap, those two are, well, incredibly evenly matched. It's actually just Tulovic picked up a very, very small amount of time on this lap. So if he is going to catch him, well, it's going to be in those last 2, maybe 3 laps.
Just further down the field, Adam Noradine currently 4th at the moment, just in the back of the picture there, teammate to Lukas Tulovic. That's going to be a 4th straight top 4 finish for Noradine if he's able to hold on to that one. He's about 1.5 seconds clear of Xabi Zurutuza behind, who will be hoping to pick up a first top 5 finish this season. Piotr Bisakowski's there in 6th ahead of teammate Dimas Ekipratama. That'll be a return to form for the pole with, as you mentioned, Jack, Oscar Gutierrez doing a fine job on the Bultaco in 8th ahead of Matteo Ratto and Sam Wilford inside the top 10. The only AGR team rider here today, with Tiger Harder unfortunately out injured after a monster high side through turn 3 during free practice on Friday.
Yeah, just looking at the bottom end of the top 10, Sam Wilford and Matteo Ratto, they often seem to find each other, don't they, when they're out on track? We saw several times last year they were very, very close. Just want to point out this man again, Adam Noradine, 3rd in the standings at the minute, and he really has taken a step from last year. He finished 7th overall in the championship last season, so for him to be fighting up for those podiums every single race in top 4s, it's a really, really good improvement from Noradine. So certainly a little quick round of applause for that man.
Whenever I see Adam Noradine, I still can't help but feel the pain of Argentina 2016, looking for a first ever Moto3 World Championship podium, up to 2nd in dodgy conditions, and then in the final laps he crashed out. Oh. As you can see, Jack, it's still pains me. It's Noradine. It's Noradine.
No.
Oh, goodness gracious me. I don't believe it. Adam Noradine, we were just talking about the fact that he was looking for a 4th straight top 4 finish, and he's crashed out at turn 5. Oh, dearie me. What a shame. I do apologise, Adam. That was commentator's curse in its finest form, but huge, huge disappointment for him. He was looking for that consistency. We'd see him hold on to 3rd in the championship, but with Tulovic now battling it out for either 2nd or 3rd. 16 points currently separate the two teammates in 3rd and 4th in the championship. So if Tulovic is able to hold on even with a 3rd place finish, I think he may well leapfrog his teammate. They'll certainly go tied on points if he finishes 3rd. If he finishes 2nd, he'll go to 3rd in the championship. With 4 laps remaining, it looks as though 2nd place may well be just out of reach for Tulovic now. In the back of your picture there, the gap was half a second a couple of laps ago, but I think there was a mistake from Tulovic on that last lap. 0.8 of a second slower than Lopez in front of him. Either the tyres are starting to cry mercy and it's game over for Tulovic, or he's made a mistake somewhere out on track. That crash for Noradine, however, does promote Cardoso up to 4th.
Yeah, and it's certainly one man's misfortune is another man's gain, and certainly that is exactly what's happened there for Xabi Zurutuza. And this will be his best ride of the season by, well, a good margin. His PB at the moment in this season is 7th, so 4th place will certainly take that. To see the electric knees there on the downshifts, getting them nice and squirrely. And then also this man, top 5 now, so certainly a confidence-inspiring performance for Piotr Bisakowski, who's looking to kind of take that next step. We've seen him often around this kind of mark, 5th, 6th, 7th, very, very close to the top guys, but not able to take that step towards the top 4, and it looks as though he's just about getting there now. Yeah,
certainly this will be, if he can see the checkered flag with 3.5 laps remaining, a 3rd top 5 finish for Bisakowski, and his first top 5 finish outside of Portugal as well. Finished 5th in Estoril in 20 2020 and in 2021. Clearly likes the place, but it's good to see him battling inside the top 5 outside of Portugal as well, the 74. And I don't think that fourth is out of the question as well. Only a second separating him and Cardoso. He's got plenty time to maybe pull in, as that is the number 81, unfortunately, that's pulled in. It is Aleix Viu, a former Moto3 Junior World Championship competitor. I seem to remember the last time we were here in 2019, he was caught up in a big incident with Dennis Onchu, who high-sided at turn number 5, and then in the second race of the day, unfortunately, he had to start from pit lane, and the bike went bust on him as he pulled down a pit lane, and we've had another faller. This time it's McKinley Kyle Paz, the Filipino rider, going down. It looks like turn 5 to me. So double disappointment for the VR46 Mastercamp squad, with both Kubow and now Paz out of contention.
Yeah, shame to see them both going down. A little bit of work to do for those boys before they come out for race 2 later, having to get the bikes rebuilt, but I'm sure there's not too much damage, only a little front ender, so should be all okay. But one man that's been completely unaffected by all the drama, all of the crashes, everything, is this man, cool, calm and collected out front, and looks as though he's going to do what unfortunately Moto3 Championship leader at the moment, Daniel Holgado, couldn't do in race 1, and looks like he's going to go 4 in a row for the start of the season.
He certainly is. He's got another couple of victories to go if he wants to match Jari Montoya from 2020. The Italian, en route to the title, picked up the opening 6 victories of the season, so he's going to be looking to make it 5 in a row later on this afternoon. And who would bet against him making it 6 in a row as well when we go to Portimao in around 3 weeks' time? He is the man of the moment so far, is Fermin Aldeguer. Back in Grand Prix action next weekend at the Saxon Ring as well. And I think he's going to be a hot topic once again. Actually caught him just after warm-up and said, oh, just thought I'd maybe get a little surprise out of him. Are you doing any more Grand Prix after Saxon Ring? You know, have you signed a contract, anything like that? And he says, oh, I don't know. So he's not giving too much away. I did try my best, though.
Ever the journalist, it's commendable for trying, Jack, but unfortunately it sounds like you've been given the firm pie on that one, unfortunately. But 2 laps to go, and it looks as though the top 3 are pretty much cemented. Unless there's any sort of drama, I don't think there'll be any change in the top 3. I hope I haven't just cursed one of them once more, but certainly Lopez, another second place. It's good, you'll take a second place, but he must be getting frustrated with just how good his teammate is this year.
Oh, absolutely. I said he's frustrated at looking at the rear wheel of Aldeguer. Unfortunately, he's not seen the rear wheel of Aldeguer. He's now 7 seconds up the road. He's the number 54. He's backed off as well now. His pace is about a second, maybe a second and a bit more slower than what we've seen throughout the opening few laps of the race. He's gone into conservation mode now. Has this man right here, Fermin Aldeguer, 1.5 laps away from a 4th straight victory in 2021. Another superb performance from the number 54.
Yeah, we can't really say too much more about him, really. He's just been the cream of the crop in terms of what this 2021 season has been. You've got to give a quick shout out to the Boscoscuro team. They really know how to pick them over the last couple of years. Obviously last year Montoya went on to dominate the series and win this title and then move to the World Championship, and well, we think it will be a similar sort of scenario with Aldeguer as long as he keeps this form going. And obviously Montoya, that is the reason why Aldeguer got his brief Grand Prix chance earlier this season. Unfortunately, Montoya had an injury from a crash earlier in the season at Portimao, so hopefully we'll see him back very soon. Or maybe not, if we see this man again on the bike later this season. That's
the thing. I mean, you say we expect him to continue this form throughout the rest of the season as we start the last lap of our first of 2 Moto2 races here at the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya. If I want to be honest, I don't think we'll see him finish the European Moto2 Championship season. I mean, if there's an opportunity coming in the World Championship, I think people will be throwing the bucket trying to get him on that bike, and you can understand why as well. You know, if there's an opportunity there, I think he'll be flying through into the World Championship before the end of the year. But let's see, we'll have to wait and see. Hopefully, we're treated to his brilliance here in the European Moto2 Championship. On to the final lap, as I said, and this battle for 4th place is going to go right down to the wire. Xabi Cardoso currently holding off a charging pole in Piotr Biersakurski, who's about a second adrift 2 and 3 laps ago, but he's closed the gap now, just 0.3 of a second seconds separate them with half a lap to go. This is the fight for the final podium spot. Second for a fourth time in a row. Looks like going away of Alonso Lopez, with Lucas Tulovic picking up another podium finish. Just a second of 2020 for the German. Half a lap remaining for him. But the day will belong, well, half of the day will belong to Fermin Aldeguer, with another race to come later on. To this man, I mean, it's incredible, his career path, the way that it's sort of evolved over the past 2 years. He was in the European Talent Cup in 2019, showcased on multiple occasions that he had the pace, but for whatever reason couldn't find a seat in the Moto2 Junior World Championship. People just didn't fancy him. They didn't want to give him a seat, an opportunity. So he had to go to the Stock 600 class, a route that very few take, but he won that in dominant style. He's got a deserved seat in the Moto2 class with the championship winning team, and he's made it 4 in a row. Back-to-back victories for Fermin Aldeguer. What a rider, what a performance, and it's a 1-2 finish once again for the Boscoscuro squad, with Lucas Tulovic completing the podium.
So there's a very happy team then, 1 and 2 for their riders once again in 2021. 4 times those two have dominated the top 2 steps, and this is going to come right down to the flag, and it looks as though Cardoso has just hung on by the slimmest of margins, just under a tenth in the end from Boscoscuro, who throws her arm to say well done, basically. But yeah, great ride from those top guys. Tulovic, another stunning ride from Tulovic to take third, his first time since round 1, but he's going to be getting frustrated that these 2 green machines are just that bit quicker.
Yep, they certainly will, certainly will. We go for race 2 later on today, as we see our Stock 600 winner come across the line here. Here's the number 11 of Alex Escreed. 3 wins to start 2021 for him. That's now 4 wins in a row for the number 11. Happy with that one. Big fist pump as he comes across the line. The Fermin Aldeguer of the Stock 600 class continues his domination, and behind it's a podium finish in the Stock 600 class for Leon August and Andrei Vostatek as well, the Czech rider. We'll see Alex Escreed, of course, in the podium places, as we see some of our colleagues here in the FIMCV reps all burst into the commentary box. Yeah, don't worry, it's not as if we're doing live commentary here. So Fermin Aldeguer will take top spot once again. He's going to be speaking to Jack Goss very shortly as he makes his way down to Park Ferme. There's going to be delight once again etched across the 16-year-old's face. Another Murcian going well at the top. Where have I heard that one before? Of course, Pedro Acosta from that region of Spain as well. There's plenty of talent in and around the Murcia area at the moment. And it looks as though the pair of them, if they continue as they are, will be fighting it out in the World Championship, the intermediate class, next year. 2 stars of the future. A great performance from Aldeguer as he puts to bed the demons of 2019, where he missed out on a European Talent Cup victory by only 7/100ths of a second to fellow Spaniard Ethan Guevara, who won that European Talent Cup title in 2019. But now he's got some Barcelona success of his own, and it's great to see that he's able to celebrate with some fans here as well. It looks as though problems across the line there for Mattia Ratto. He did cross the line in 10th, so he will take away a top 10 finish, will the Italian, but he was a little bit further up the field. So that allows Sam Wilford to move up to 8th as a result, and Oscar Gutierrez on the Bull Taco. Jack Gorst, of course, mentioning the fine work that he was doing, eventually coming across the line in 7th. Great performance from the number 99. But this man was unstoppable once again. Awesome Aldeguer, as it has been throughout the start of 2021. And it doesn't look like stopping as we go into race 2, race 5 of the championship later on today. Oh, nearly has his first crash of the weekend there in Park Ferme. Celebration with the Boscoscuro squad. Team-Ciatti over the past couple of years have really found a way to make that Boscoscuro machine work. They dominated 2020 with Jari Montoya, and they're dominating this year as well with Fermin Aldeguer. Those lime green bikes have been taking centre stage in Park Ferme over recent years, and as you can see there, Alonso Lopez, he's not happy at all, is he? He's not happy to play second fiddle to Aldeguer once again. Look at that, he's needing a consoling word just to say, hey, look, you've got to keep going, keep plugging away. You never know. The championship can change in just a blink of an eye. Good word from the team manager there just to keep him on side, but obvious disappointment from Alonso Lopez to have to settle for second once again. Lukas Tulovic, third place for him, the German. Second podium finish of the season, and he'll be delighted with that one. Back in action, of course, with the Moto E field at the TT Circuit Assen in 2 weeks' time. Make sure you don't miss that one. The opening couple of races of the season have been, well, for want of a better phrase, electric. They've been brilliant races. 6, 7, 8 lap dashes, certainly not to be missed. Here's the race-winning overtake then, and what a move it was as well. Aldeguer around the outside of Tulovic into turn 1. A spectacular victory, and it was all helped by a spectacular move. You don't see that very often. Ever since he hit the front, he pulled clear, eventually taking the checkered flag by 7 seconds. Brilliance from Aldeguer. And wow, what a move that was, around the outside, and a fairly decent wheelie to match as well. Stand-up wheelie across the line. It's a fabulous 4 wins in a row for Aldeguer. And he's understandably delighted with that one. The number 54, we'll be hearing from him shortly, 12:30 local time, here in Barcelona. Of course, we've got 3 more races coming your way over the next 3 hours. European Talent Cup guys, they are going to put on a show. That is guaranteed in about half an hour's time. But before that, though, let's hear from your Moto2 European Championship race winner. Here's Fermin Aldeguer with Gusto.
Fermin, 4 wins out of 4 in 2021, 100% record. How was the race for you?
I'm very happy with this weekend because in all season I push too much and I make a good time, and in the race I push in the start, I put my ring, and in the end I win. I'm very happy, and thank you to all my team, to all my sponsors and my family.
And the Spanish sponsors?
Bueno, estoy muy contento con cómo estamos trabajando este fin de semana. En todas las sesiones he estado haciendo buenos tiempos. Y bueno, súper contento con la carrera, he empujado desde el principio, he puesto mi ritmo y bueno, he ganado. Muchas gracias a todos mis sponsors, a mi familia y a mi equipo.
Congratulations, see you in race 2.
Fermin Aldeguer started from pole position for the first time this year, gunning for a 4th straight victory after starting 2021 with a hat-trick of wins. But it didn't go his way into the opening corner, with both Tulovic and teammate Alonso Lopez getting the better of him on the run down to the opening corner. Tulovic hit the front and tried to set a rhythm to stretch the field out as much as possible, with Alonso Lopez trying his level best to keep his teammate behind. He did a good job of it for the opening couple of laps before then making that mistake there into turn 6, allowing Aldeguer through. The Spaniard didn't waste much time, eventually rolling around the outside of Tulovic into the opening corner just a lap later to hit the front, and he didn't look back from there, setting an electric pace that nobody was able to match, pulling clear, eventually taking the win by almost 7 seconds. Grand Prix star Jack Miller watched on thinking, goodness gracious me, I might have to deal with this man in years to come. Meanwhile, the battle behind for the final podium places went down to the wire between both Tulovic and Lopez. Lopez eventually got the job done with about half race distance, and Tulovic hung in there, applying the pressure, unable to eventually make a move. Further back, there was drama at turn 10 with Toledo tucking the front and wiping out Kubow in the fight for a top 6 finish. But it was all about Aldeguer. 4 wins in a row, a sensational start to 2021, simply untouchable so far this year. His pace was electric, 3/4 of a second to a second quicker than anybody else, despite Lopez having got the better of Tulovic pushing further forward. It was a disappointing end for Tulovic's teammate Adam Noradine as he crashed out of 4th with only a handful of laps remaining. But Aldeguer made it 4 on the spin. 100 points to his name after the first 4 races of the year, with Alonso Lopez having to settle for second once again, and Lukas Tulovic taking a 2nd podium finish of 2021 there in 3rd.
So there's your results then. Aldeguer with the win, Lopez, Tulovic. Cardelus, great fourth for him. Piotr Wyszkowski in fifth. Dimas Eki 6th. Great stuff from the ball taco man. Oscar Gutierrez in 7th. Sam Wilford, good ride for him. I think that's his PB this year. So 8th place for the Brit. And Alessandro Zetti 9th, with Matteo Ratto completing the top 10. The top Stock 600 runner was Eskrig from Orgis and Vostatek. So good stuff from those three guys. Kevin Orgis in 14th. Guillermo Moreno in 15th. Alex Perez and Joel Borbum in 17th. Down towards the back of the field, Jared Schultz finished 18th from Gian Mertens, and Federico Minozzi the last finisher in the end. Unfortunately, there was a few crashes out, including Paz, Noradine, Kubow and Toledo, and Aleix View, who I think he pulled into the pits in the end. As well as Daijiro Sacco, who also crashed out early on in the race. So here we go then, it's a very familiar looking podium to what we've seen before. Obviously the top man of the year, Fermin Aldeguer, will be taking the top prize, but first to come out onto the podium, it will be Lucas, well no, it won't be Lucas Tolevic, it will be one of the representatives from the Team-Ciatti Boscoscuro team, and here is Lucas Tolevic to collect the third place trophy. Good ride from him, first podium since the second race in Estoril, so certainly back on form. And there's Alonso Lopez coming out to take second, looking a little bit suitably miffed. Unfortunate, well, not unfortunate for him, he had a fantastic race, but it seems as though he was just expressing to his mechanic down in Parc Fermé, possibly there wasn't something to his liking on the bike. But regardless, this was the start of the show. Fermin Aldeguer with another victory, 4 in a row to start the season. He's on absolutely supreme form, and you certainly wouldn't say, well, I mean, he's obviously the odds-on favourite to take the race win later this afternoon in race 2 as well. Third place trophy then for Lucas Tolevic. Seems quite happy with it. He's quite a big man, he makes that trophy look very small. Someone slightly smaller, but a little bit of a bigger trophy for Alonso Lopez. Another second place. He's got to be wondering what he needs to do to be able to find those few tenths that he needs to eclipse this man, the race winner, Fermin Aldeguer. And my Moto2 World Championship teams, you really need to get busy to get this man's signature for 2022. There you have it then, a round of applause for the podium men, and a very familiar sound in the 2021 Moto2 European Championship with the Spanish national anthem singing out. So all the usual formalities, a couple of pictures and photos for these guys then. Of course, they got one more race later today, so I'm sure that Lopez and Tulovic will be going back to the drawing board and seeing what sort of improvements they can make so they can find those few tenths they need to be able to get closer to the top man. And interesting looking at the rear tyres as well as they spray the fizzy water. Well, for Fermin Aldeguer anyway, the young 16-year-old. But interestingly, looking at the tyres down in Parc Fermé, they all looked pretty good, to be fair. No one really struggling too much. And here is the championship then. 4 out of 4, Fermin Aldeguer, a full fat 100 points. Alonso Lopez just 20 behind due to those 4 second places. And Adam Noradine does hold on to that 3rd place in the championship.
The one crumb of comfort for Alonso Lopez, no doubt, will be the fact that with those 4 straight second-place finishes, only 20 points adrift, it takes one error from Aldeguer, and suddenly the championship is turned on its head. So, let's see if Aldeguer can continue his dominance later on this afternoon. The final race of the day will be the Moto2 European Championship, but our attention will now switch to the European Talent Cup. And if you've never seen a European Talent Cup race before, then strap in, because it is pretty hectic. Before that, though, of course, the podium finishes in the Stock 600 class. There's Alex Escrig. 4 out of 4 for him as well in the Stock 600 class, getting the P1 trophy from the Mayor of Montmello. Joined on the podium there by Leon August and Andrei Vostetek, the Czech rider. Good to see such a split of nationalities there. A Spaniard joined by a German and a Czech rider. And as a result, it's Escrig, obviously, with 100 points at the top of the table. His lead a little bit more demanding now. 51 points clear of Leon August. Look how tight that is in the fight for second in the championship. What's that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 riders split by just 3 points. But it does look like it's a fight for second with Escrig dominant out front.
Yeah, he's certainly been the commanding force in terms of the Stock 600 runners, and often we do see that in the Stock 600 Championship, that there's one man that's just that little bit, that slight step ahead of the rest of them, and obviously Escrig is that this year.
But in the Moto2 European Championship, it was awesome Aldeguer once again. 4 wins out of 4 for the 16-year-old. He'll be looking to make it a 5-star start to 2021 later on.